Hi, this is the help video for Excel Chapter 2, Pause and Practice number 1. We're beginning with step number 4. On the left, I have the instruction file as it is in SimNet, in the SimNet SimBook, and on the right, I have my file as it exists at the end of step 3. So before we actually start typing this in, I want to discuss what we're actually doing here. So the expenses for the Paradise Lakes Resort is how much expenses there are is a function of the revenue. So if we move over to rates and tables, we can see that 8% of the revenue coming in is spent on administrative expenses. 15 is spent on management. 35 is spent on operational. So if we come back to Cass Lake, you can see here what we need to do to derive these numbers is to look at the total revenue and then multiply it by the category of that expense. So for this first administrative one, not only are we putting a formula in here, but we're going to do a 3D formula because we have to go to rates and tables. And then, thinking ahead, we need to take April and we want to copy it to May and June and July. We want to copy it across, right? So in April, when we point to this cell, we need to lock it in because that 8% is the same percentage for every month. If I don't lock in that reference to this cell, it'll move across, right? Because it will be in relation to where the answer is. And we don't want it to be in relation. We want to be very specific and absolute about it being in G2. So let's see how we can do that. We're going to begin the process, but by putting our cursor where the answer is going to be. So that is B15 because we want to figure out April's administrative expenses. We begin our formula with the equal sign that tells Excel, hey, we're doing a formula. Then I want to take April's total revenue. So that is in B11. Got my blue, got my running ants. That's what I want. Now I need to decide, is there more to my formula or am I done? Well, there's more, right? Because I want to multiply, so I want to do the asterisk. I want to multiply the total revenue by that percentage that's over in rates and tables. So at this point, I'm going to click on rates and tables. I'm going to click on that cell. Now, a couple things here. One, when you're working with 3D formulas, you don't ever return home. So like if my formula is done here, I just either enter or check mark. If I have more to my formula, then I do my math sign. One of the common mistakes is that students return like back to Cass Lake. You don't want to do that. So, but we want to look at this G2. So right now, because the default reference is a relative reference, it's going to adjust when I copy it. I don't want to. I want to lock it in. So if you take a look at your keyboard, you want to find the F4 key. It's not the letter F and the number 4, but the actual key that says F4. Now, if you have a laptop or your keyboard is one of the smaller ones, you often have to hit the function, the FN key, and then the key that has the F4 in order to achieve that F4 status. I have a regular keyboard, full keyboard, so I'm just going to hit my F4 here and look at what it does. $G, $2. So the F4, now I'm going to hit it again and I'm going to make it wrong, but look, it's G, $2. I hit it again. $G2. I hit it again. It goes back to relative. So every time I hit that key, it's going to go around to those 4 possibilities: relative, absolute, mixed, mixed, relative, absolute, mixed, mixed. So if you hit that F4 key too much and you go past it, you just got to hit it again and go around the horn, and it'll come back around. So I am making this an absolute reference, $G, $2. That means it's never going to change. It's always going to come back to this cell. Remember, I don't go back to Cass Lake. I'm just going to click on this check mark, which is the same as hitting enter. So super cool. I've got April's expenses for the administrative category, which is 8% of what the revenue is. So now I can just drag this across to G and let go. And look how it's different. It takes the revenue for that month, but look, it always goes back in the rates and tables worksheet to G2. Never changes in any of those formulas, and that's how come it works. So that is a 3D reference. It's got the name of the table and an absolute reference built into one. So now the next one gets a little more complex. So we really could have done all three of these like this, but the textbook wants you to experience both. So look, management and operational are right above each other. If we look at this, management and operational values are stacked just like they are here. So I should be able to put a formula here that references total revenue and gets the appropriate percentage here. So this is going to take a little more work. So let's think this through. So when I reference the total revenue in this row 16 for management, let's go up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rows above me. It's going to grab that number. But look at what happens when I copy this down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look what's in B12. Nothing. So if I just reference it like I did up here for administrative, my operational is not going to work. So I need to come up with a way, but I want to be able to copy it. So I don't always want to go back to April. So over here, I want to go to May's, and over here, I want to go to June's, and here I want to go to July's. So the value I want to get is on row 11, but it could be in B or C or D. In other words, that part of the formula changes, but what's fixed is the reference to row 11. So that's one of those mixed references, right? So let's do that. So let's do equal, point to revenue for April, and hit my F4 key. And I'm going to hit it until I get the value that I want. So I want row 11 to be locked. And remember, the lock is the $. And then I hit it again and look, B, so B can change. We can go B, C, D, which I want to, April, May, June. But I always want to go pull the number from row 11. So this is exactly what I want. Times, right, multiply. I'm going to come over to my rates and tables, and I'm going to click here. So if I leave this alone, remember, it's going to adjust and it's not going to work. If I absolutely reference it, then when I copy it to operational, it's going to use 15% instead of 35. So I wanted to be able to move my rows, but stay in column G no matter where I copy it. So I need to use my F4 key to change this, and so that the lock is on the G and not the row number. So I hit my F4, I hit it again, so 3 is locked in, I don't want that. I hit it again, $G3. G will not change, but 3 could go to 4, could go to 5, could go to whatever, however many. That's what I want. And so in this formula, I've got a mixed that I'm locking in the row. I've got the 3D, and I've got a mix that's locking in the column. I can check mark it. I can now take this little cell formula, copy it down. So now my green box is around both cells, and I can take that and drag it across. And because I referenced those pieces of the formula correctly, it's, if I go here to June, it's looking at D11. That is the total revenue. And it's looking at G3, which is management. That's cool. If I come down here, look, it's D11. And then look here, it's looking at G4. So that's operational, which is what this is. So being able to mix those really is an important concept. All right, so I am done with up through 5. I'm going to stop this movie and start with number 6 in the next movie. All right, guys, thank you.